Welcome to First Parish Brewster. We are a Unitarian Universalist welcoming congregation of people of diverse philosophies and beliefs, people of various cultures and races, sexual orientations, gender identities, abilities, and socioeconomic backgrounds. Whoever you are, wherever you are on your path, may this be a place of rest and restoration on your journey. I'm Reverend Jessica Clay, happy to be welcoming you to the service today with our music director, Kaiza Fern, and our director of Lifespan Religious Education, Twinks Hastings. Not a lot of enthusiasm out there. Let's give them both a yay. How about that? It was kind of like a yay. Our services are recorded and available on our YouTube channel midweek. We do ask, nope, I still need to take the line about masking out. I forgot that last week. So you do not need to remain masked. We do have 2 pews up here where there are masks required, and I think there's some up there in that corner where masks are required as well. So if you would prefer to be masked, you can be in one of those places. Please, at this time, silence your cell phones. We ask that all wear their name tags or fill out the sticker name tags in an effort to be more welcoming. We also welcome the noises, movements, and mirth that little ones bring to our services. For those of you who may be first-time visitors this morning, welcome. Are there any visitors who would like to introduce themselves? And we will bring a microphone to you so you can introduce yourself. No pressure. Okay. I see a lot of you visitors, but no pressure. It's totally fine. If you would like to learn more about First Parish Brewster, fill out a welcome card found on the back of the pew in front of you and place it in the offertory basket. Welcome on this morning, which we make sacred by our presence here together, and a big welcome to everyone streaming. Let's give them a wave. All are welcome to join us in our parish hall, which is right through this door, after the service for coffee hour. And if you've been thinking about joining this congregation as a member, the membership book will be available during coffee hour. So if you hear the bell, that means we have a new member. Welcome to our service today. It is so good to be together.
Good morning. Well, this morning we have a pickup choir who's going to come up here while I invite you all to be our, well, what they probably wouldn't have called in the 13th century backup vocals, but that's what I'm going to invite you to do. So this song is called Summer is a-Comin' In, and the Middle English word summer, some people actually think it doesn't translate exactly as summer, but anyway, it's warm weather, which maybe today there's a little exception to that, but we are coming into warm weather, and summer solstice is this Wednesday, so I thought it would be nice to share this. And what you're all going to sing is a little back and forth, but we'll learn it together, and it goes, sing coo, sing cuckoo now, sing cuckoo. 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 Good, and we'll just do this. We'll do back and forth. So could I have a few of you join this side, because this side is a little sparse right now, but we're going to have sing cuckoo now, sing coo, like that, back and forth, but you just join them. Ready? Sing cuckoo now, sing cuckoo now, sing cuckoo, sing cuckoo. Keep going. Sing. Keep going. Sing. Ready? Summer is a-coming, loudly sing cuckoo. Grow with seed and blow with me, and wood anew. Sing cuckoo, you now bleat and after lamb, after calf the cow. Children started, everything cuckoo. Sing cuckoo, well singst thou cuckoo, oh seest thou never now. Summer is a-coming, loudly sings the cuckoo. Grow with seed and blow with me, grow with seed and blow with me. Sing cuckoo, sing the bleated after lamb, the lantern calf the cow. Golden chariot down to earth, Mary sing cuckoo. Sing cuckoo, well sing thou cuckoo, oh sing thou never now. Sing thou never now. Sing cuckoo.
Dance of fire, dance of transition. As we kindle the flame of our spiritual community, let us pay attention to the dance of its fire. It is not static, it does not stay the same. It ebbs and flows in spontaneous patterns of light and shade. May we find our way as a congregation through this dance of transition with like spontaneity, responsiveness, and warmth.
I invite you to take your teal hymnal and turn to 1020, and please rise in body or spirit. This is in the teal hymnal 1020, Wo Ya Ya. We will get there, heaven knows how we
Please join me in our affirmation. We believe in love.
Love is the doctrine of this church.
We believe in truth.
The quest for food is the sacrament.
We believe in helping others.
Our prayer.
We believe in the sacredness of life.
To the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine.
Thank you. You may be seated, and if there are any children or young at heart people that would like to join me up front for a story, come on down. There ends our story. No, I'm just kidding. So today, Reverend Jessica is going to be talking about change. And we all know that important things change over time, but the most important things don't change. So right now, our faith, Unitarian Universalists, are talking about a big change that's coming about how we live out our faith and what our values are. And so when I was thinking about change this week, I started to think about technology. Has anyone noticed how technology has changed over their lifetime? Yeah. So then I decided to go on a bit of an archaeological dig through my storage unit, and I found some things. First thing I found was this. Do any of you know what this is? Do any of you guys know? Who knows what this is? Someone out there. Yeah, a VHS tape. So this is how we used to watch movies. This is a concert, Boyzone live at Wembley. They were my boy band of choice when I was a teenager. So we had these, and then we moved on to DVDs. Does anyone remember the caring and sharing library we have? Yeah. So this is how we used to watch our movies on DVD. This is a coming of age service from 2009.
Some of us still watch movies that way.
And then how we got our movies was there was this place called Blockbuster. I don't know if you can see on here why I still have one. I think it closed down before I returned it. So there'd be a store where they'd have all different movies, and you'd have to go in and pay some money and rent it. And so that's how we got our movies. And return it. Then what happened was Netflix came out, but it wasn't online. Netflix looked like this. Anyone remember this time period? So if you can believe this, you'd have to look on your computer, order what movie you wanted to watch, then it would come through the door, be in your post box, then you'd watch your movie, then you would return it, and then they would send you another one. So sometimes it took like a week to watch a movie, because you had to wait for it. And then there was the box set. Remember these? Clearly, I'm not good at keeping everything around. And then, this is just another DVD. Boyzone again, but they got a little fancier. Went to DVD from VHS. So the technology of, and now how do we watch movies? We just stream it. We can stream it on our phones, on our iPads, on our fancy TVs if we have one. So the technology changed, but the important thing, people being able to watch movies and TV shows, that stayed. Just the technology changed round about us. And then Do you all know what this is? Anyone? You know? Yeah, this is a thumb drive. And before this, we had floppy disks, and I couldn't even find a floppy disk. Do you all remember floppy disks? I searched high and low, couldn't find one. So that was a disk you had to put in your computer, and then take it out, and that's how you shared files. Then we moved to these things for a little while. Maybe we still use them, some people, yeah. And now we've got Google Docs, where you can everybody can work on one document at the same time. That's how we do our orders of service now. We all just work on it. So the need to share our files and our information, that stayed the same, but just how we did it changed a little bit. And so that's what's happening with our faith right now. We've always had our 7 principles, and then we added an 8th principle. But a group of folks started to look at that because in our bylaws, that hasn't been changed since 1985. And that is about the time when we were listening to music on cassette tapes, and we moved to CDs. So it's been a long time. And so this group of people started to look at our bylaws and look at our principles, and they came up, these were a really great group of leaders in our faith, and they have come up with some new ways in which we are going to live out our faith. And so we are going to change from our principles to our new values. So these are the new values. Okay? And the most important thing is love is in the middle. So that will never change, right? Ours is a faith of love, and that's going to stay the same. But our values are equity, interdependence, justice, evolution, pluralism, and generosity. Yeah, and so that's what they've been working on. Has anyone heard of this change? Yeah, so just like our technology changed to keep up with the times, our faith is changing to make it more accessible. These are probably going to be easier to remember words than all of the principles word by word. We could do a little test. Who knows what the 4th principle is? You know it? Good. So yeah, this is how we are, our faith is going to move forward. And so just like technology, the important things stay the same. Our faith is based on love and based on justice and based on looking after each other. But this is just the new technology for Unitarian Universalism. And GA, our General Assembly, is next week. And so there's going to be a lot of talk and voting and people sharing their opinions about how they feel about this next week. So you can, if you're interested, you can pay attention to that online. And other than that, what we know is true is that the very important things will stay the same, even though ministers leave with their babies. The heart of First Parish Brewster, if we continue to walk together in love, will always be the same. It's kind of like the VHS tapes are gone, but now we have Netflix and Amazon Prime, right? Yeah. All right, let's sing our children out.
Does that mean I'm a VHS tape? I'm just wondering. I invite you to settle in your seats for our time for meditation and prayer. If you have something in your hands, to set it down. I invite you to cast your eyes down or close them as we breathe together. Holy One, This morning we lift up our hearts. Many come to this community seeking comfort, connection, seeking to be reminded that in a world filled with uncertainty and change, that this community can hold each other through it all. On this Father's Day, we lift up those for whom this day may be painful because of fathers who weren't present or because of the wish to become a father that never came to fruition. May these beloveds feel our care on this day. And for those whom were and are close with their fathers or who identify as a father, may we celebrate them in the ways that these familial relationships represent love. Tomorrow is Juneteenth. We name the history present within this congregation of members and ministers participating in the enslavement of people of color. May we continue to commit ourselves to the work of reparations in all its forms and to the work of dismantling the white supremacist culture that is pervasive in the United States. May we remember that we are all interconnected and responsible for each other as we move through the world. May we move with care towards each other. May we take the time to learn each other's stories and remember that each of us has a spark of the divine within us. Amen, and blessed be. Nothing is static. The ground shifts, sometimes slowly, sometimes like an earthquake, reminding us that the solidity we often love and seek is an illusion. The crumbling dust of the desert plains, the moist fertility of farmlands, the eroding coastline of tidal shores, all are changing. Committees dissolve or are created, leaders retire or step away, ministers come and go, bylaws are amended. New experiences lead to new truths which foster evolution. The natural course of life always pushing us towards greater understandings of what it means to be human. Everything about our existence points towards change, flexibility, and dynamic recreation. And it's hard because change involves loss. Can we hold the losses well while not holding ourselves back? The ground shifts, sometimes slowly, sometimes like an earthquake. Nothing is static.
I invite you to turn to your teal hymnal and turn to 1003, 1003, it's near the beginning. And I'm going to invite the choir to come up and take their places. We're going to sing only the first 3 lines of this and then sing it over again. And we'll do it in a round in a moment, but let's just sing it through, those 3 lines. Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? Mystery, mystery, life is a riddle and a mystery. Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? Mystery, mystery, life is a riddle and a mystery. And then you start over. Good. So we'll do 3 parts. Part 2 will be this row right here, and part 3 along with the balcony. We'll start. Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going?
Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do are we? Where are we going? Mystery, mystery, life is a riddle and mystery. Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? Mystery, mystery, life is a riddle and a mystery. Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? Mystery, mystery, life is a riddle and a mystery. Mystery, mystery, life is a riddle and a mystery.
You did it. Each week we have the practice of splitting our offertory plate with an organization that is nominated by one of you. This morning's offering is a split plate with the Homeless Prevention Council. The mission of the Homeless Prevention Council is providing personalized case management services that empower clients on the Lower and Outer Cape to attain financial independence and preserve their housing. These services support clients to connect with appropriate community resources to assist with challenges they may be facing. So I couldn't find numbers for this year, but last year on the Cape and Islands, the total number of unhoused people, adults and children, sheltered and unsheltered, counted in February of 2022 was 397, which was an increase of 54 from the year previous and the highest number of unhoused people counted in the last 8 years. I know that we have all felt the crunch of the economy as of late, and for people who are unhoused, they have felt it more than ever. So we ask you to be as generous as you are able this morning to give to this organization that is making a difference with unhoused people right here on the Cape. You can text to give, the number's in your order of service, or you can place cash or check in the offertory box. If you're watching online, you can give on our website. However you choose to give this morning, we thank you for your generosity. The offertory will now be gratefully collected.
Still don't know what I was waiting for, and my time was running wild. A million dead-end streets, and every time I thought I'd had it made, it seemed the taste was not so sweet. So I turned myself to face me, but I've never caught a glimpse of how the others must see the faker. I'm much too fast to take that test. Changes, turn and face the strange. Changes, don't want to be a rich man. Changes, turn and face the strange. Changes, just gonna have to be a different man. Time may change me, but I can't trace time. Watch the ripples change their size, but never leave the stream of warm impermanence. And so the days flowed through my eyes, but still the days seem the same. And these children that you see here as they try to change their worlds are immune to your consultations. They're quite aware of what they're going through. Changes, turn and face the strange. Changes, want them to grow up and out of it. Changes, turn and face the strange. Changes, where's your shame? You left us up to our necks in it. Time may change me, but you can't trace time. Strange fascination, fascinating me. Changes are taking the pace I'm going through. Changes, turn and face the strange. Changes, oh look out, rock and rollers. Changes, turn and face the strange. Changes, pretty soon now you're gonna get older. Time may change me, but I can't trace time. I said that time may change me, but I can't trace time.
Thank you, Pickup Choir. They just learned that this morning, and if you would like to join the Pickup Choir, you can see the back of your order of service for upcoming opportunities to come on down and sing together. So last week I talked about liminality, that space between things, and this year has been a time of liminality for me, of not knowing how my pregnancy would turn out, not knowing how my job search would turn out, of not knowing how our job search here when we were hiring a music director would turn out. There has been so much uncertainty. And what's true throughout my ministry with you is that we have navigated uncertainty and change in many ways. In the book Living Beautifully with Uncertainty and Change by the Buddhist monk Pema Chodron, she talks about the fundamental anxiety of being human. Has anyone read this book? This is one of my favorite books. I pick it up several times a year. I gave it to the directors a few months ago. It's a great book. So she says that the anxiety present in life leads to a checking out, an ambiguity about how we live in the world because of so much uncertainty and change. And we come here to check in. And one of the fundamental truths of life is that it is filled with change and uncertainties. Most of the time we go back and forth between pleasure and pain, seeking out pleasure, pushing away pain. And through these teachings, we try to find the middle way, to find the path through both. This invites a bit more ease. There are 3 invitations in this book, which are known as the 3 vows or the 3 commitments in Tibetan Buddhism. Today, I invite you to put these into practice in your own life and to put these into practice in this time of uncertainty and change. The first of these is a commitment to doing our best to not cause harm with our actions or words or thoughts. A commitment to being good to each other. We can do that, right? Recently, I have gotten into this podcast, Normal Gossip. Has anyone heard of it? It's great. So this podcast takes people's gossip, anonymizes it, and shares these stories with very funny commentary. So I get to listen to these salacious stories that are funny or shocking without the harm that is caused by feeding rumors about people you know. And they said, I listened to a Q&A on it, and they said even when people think they know who the story's about and they write in and say, oh, this was here, they have never gotten it right. Which goes to tell you how common our stories are sometimes. It's a healthy form of gossip because the truth is we make up stories to fill in the gaps of when we don't know things. When we're afraid of things, stories help us figure the world out. But sometimes when it's gossip in our community, it just causes harm. With this commitment, you're invited to notice how your words or actions might be causing harm to the people around you, not to notice from a place of blame or shame, but an invitation to recognize that you can change those words and actions. You can choose not to share that piece of harmful gossip. You can choose kindness and compassion towards each other, even when you might be stressed and anxious. So I'm going to pause the sermon here and invite you to think about your relationship with gossip. At the beginning of the podcast, Normal Gossip, the host always asks the guest what their relationship to gossip is. So I invite you to reflect on what is your relationship to gossip? Do you love gossip? Do you hate it? Are you somewhere in between? Are you thinking about it? Find someone you didn't come with and share with them the role that gossip plays in your life. You have 2 minutes each, so keep it brief. And try to respect if someone's masked, ask if they would prefer if you put a mask on. And at GA, it's really hard not to like gossip about colleagues. And so it's like a conscious practice of being like, you don't need to say that thing. You don't need to, like, sometimes GA Does anyone feel like they want to share with the big group their relationship to gossip? Twinks will bring a mic to you. I see Roseanne over here and then Beck over here.
Hi, my name is Roseanne, and I've been a member of this congregation for almost 20 years. I was raised Jewish. I've done a lot of different religions and practices, but my relationship to gossip is, frankly, I don't want to hear it, because I believe that it does not come from a good place. And I shared with the person I interacted with, there's a Hebrew expression, Lashon Hara. I don't know what it means, it translates to, but it's basically saying bad things about somebody. Yeah.
Thank you, Roseanne. Esther has her hand up. SC, excuse me.
Danny, and I was telling him that I was very fortunate in growing up with a mother who hated gossip. And so whenever she heard some, mostly ladies, who would say this, that, and the other thing, and she would always say, "Were you there, Charlie?" So I always remembered that when people say things, and, you know, "Were you there?"
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I mean, you knew I was going to have something to say. I love the word gossip because the origin of it is actually from godsib, which is like a god sibling, which is, I love etymology for those of you who don't know. So it actually, like, the origin of the term gossip is just to talk to other people. It's to, like, build relationship. And so I love to think about gossip as not necessarily, we sort of have this really negative connotation to it, but originally it was not meant that way. And it has become this sort of term that means this, like, vicious, negative talking about other people, and it is heavily gendered because we do have this association of particularly women. And so I would invite us all to think about the ways that this has been weaponized historically against femme-presenting people, and that gossip doesn't always have to be a bad thing, but it's how we use it. Because often when we talk about other people, we're sharing concerns, we're building relationship, we're building community. But I love that question of, were you there? When we're sharing, you know, oh, this happened and I heard this, the juicy gossip. But were you there? Can we verify? How can we turn that information sharing into community building, into how do we support our people?
I love that. Thank you. All right. Oh, we have one more. We'll do Sue and then we'll move on.
Well, this occurred to me, and we didn't actually talk about this, but there's a fellow in our neighborhood who we all call the town crier, very lovingly, because he walks his dog all around the neighborhood and he shares stories in a positive way about everybody. It's just, you know, the news, you know, who's having the relatives come by, somebody's pregnant, gonna have a baby, they got a new puppy, whatever. And we love it because he's very positive. I just think of gossip as, you know, something you can get into in negative ways, but I always remember, is it good? Is it true? Is it kind? Will it help? I have that up on my you know, visor in my car, so that's a good guideline.
I love it. We had buttons made in 2021, maybe, I think, that said those three phrases, which were from Reverend Hope Johnson. So I love that. Thank you for sharing that. So hopefully in your sharing there was some validation or maybe a different point of view. The commitment to not cause harm is a tool for your toolbox to help manage and gain insight into how you move in the world in the midst of uncertainty and change. Part of what helps us to do this commitment to not cause harm, to be good to each other, is a practice for staying present, not pregnant. Little Freudian slip there. Practice for staying present. Pema Chodron says, the on-the-spot practice of being fully present, feeling your heart, and greeting the next moment with an open mind can be done at any time. And meditation can help with this. Meditation can help us to stay in the middle when we are triggered, when we are feeling the strength of our emotions. So what's the first commitment? Yes, be good to each other. The second commitment to living beautifully with uncertainty and change is committing to take care of one another. This commitment invites us out of our comfort zone. Pema Chodron says, open yourselves to the pain of the world in order to help alleviate it. She says it is in essence about taking care of one another, even if it sometimes means not liking how it feels. The second commitment is recognizing that our liberation is bound up in each other, that we are interconnected and responsible for each other, even the people you don't like. And part of this starts with ourselves, the parts of ourselves that we don't like, a commitment to compassion for them. And then when we see those traits reflected in other people, it will allow us to be more compassionate with them. So this commitment to taking care of each other shows up in this congregation. Throughout my past 6 years with you, I saw you again and again show up for one another. So I invite you to reflect on when you have seen this congregation show up for each other. Maybe this congregation showed up for you personally, or maybe you showed up for someone else, or maybe you saw a committee showing up for a group. So I invite you to reflect on this now and turn towards someone else and share. And if you're visiting, you can just receive the stories because you don't have stories about it, but receive stories from people who've seen this congregation show up. Or maybe you have stories from a previous congregation you've been in. Go ahead and share with each other. Feel free to turn around and talk to people you haven't talked to before. Nobody's talking to them. Will you go do it? Yeah. Hi, Diane. Sure. Okay, a couple of people want to share when they've seen this congregation showing up for each other.
Well, I remember when Mary and JD left, they were my first ministers, and it really broke my heart, and every time I would cry every Sunday, and I even thought of leaving, and everybody in this congregation was like, it's not the minister that makes the people, it is the people that make the church.
Mm-hmm. Correct. Thank you. Someone else?
Well, I think it was remarkable how people during the pandemic, and I'm going to focus on the staff, how they had to learn a new technology, and amazing how is music, voice music, synchronized on Zoom. To this day, I don't know how that ever was done. Yet remarkably, it was done.
Yes.
And just the what was involved to put that broadcast out. I just focus on that. The staff did a fantastic job during COVID.
My name is Daniel Beltran, and I have to tell this story because it's so important to us. When Armando and I first moved here to Brewster a year and a half ago, we knew no one. No one. Zero. We've been vacationing to the Cape for 30 years, but we really knew no one. And if it were not for this congregation and the members of this congregation, we wouldn't have had a community. And we had one the minute we walked through that door, and continue to this day. It's a wonderful, wonderful experience.
Thank you. Maureen, is your hand up?
I hope I'm speaking for a lot of people here, but when I had knee surgery a couple months ago, one of the members of the congregation set up a meal train for me online, and for 2 weeks we didn't have to make any meals. People just kept bringing them to our door, and I know that's happened for a lot of people here.
Love that. Thank you. All right. Thank you. Thanks, Twinks. Shantideva has a verse that the Dalai Lama loves. It goes as follows. And now, as long as space endures, as long as there are beings to be found, may I continue likewise to remain, to drive away the sorrows of the world. This is recognizing that we are responsible for each other. Pema Chodron says, don't strive for perfection in these commitments. She says she remembers reading Shantideva in bed and crying because it was so beautiful. She was so moved. And then someone burst into her room and interrupted her, and she snapped at them. We're just human trying to make our way. And this commitment is not a passive commitment. This is a commitment to doing things for the health of the whole, letting go of personal needs. It is active. It requires your participation. So the second commitment is take care of each other. So the first one is do no harm. Second one is? Okay. And the third one is committing to embrace the world just as it is. This commitment is recognizing that uncertainty and change are part of the world. It means we surrender to life. Pema says that we turn towards our experiences rather than away from them. It's an indication to notice the storyline that you might be creating to narrate your experience and move away from that and just be present to what it is. It doesn't mean you can't get enjoyment from life, but it means to notice when you might be clinging to something, to that thing that is bringing pleasure, or when you might have aversion towards something that might be bringing pain, and bring yourself back to the present, remembering impermanence, that everything changes. Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche says that chaos should be regarded as extremely good news. That's a pretty strong quote, right? But if you make these commitments or if you invite them into your own life, when chaos shows up, you know you're going to be okay. I know this congregation is going to be okay after I leave. I know this congregation has a bright future ahead of it, and no, this isn't a perfect leaving. I had to let go of that storyline and embrace what is. Committing to embrace the world just as it is doesn't come easily, but I want you to remember that you're in this together. You don't have to do any of these things alone. This is why you are a part of this congregation, because you recognize that you could do it alone, but instead you choose these people to journey alongside you. You choose these people to help keep you in the present. So I invite you to think about what helps you to embrace the world just as it is. What helps you to navigate when chaos shows up? Can you just yell out some things and I'll repeat them into the mic? Breathe. Sunny days. Walk on the beach. Community, exercise. Music, time alone. Practice, time with friends. Go in the hammock. Garden. Hold babies. Puppies, totally. We have to add kittens. Yeah. Okay. For some, it may be alcohol. For others, it may be sobriety, depending on your relationship with it. What about spiritual practices? We are in church, people. So, what was in the garden? Mm-hmm, correct. Gratitude, yes. Staying present. So today we have reviewed the 3 commitments of do no harm, take care of each other, and embrace the world just as it is. I invite you to make one of these commitments, and if you're feeling especially ambitious, make all 3. Notice how your life changes from it. Notice how your relationships with people change from it. So you can make this commitment in coffee hour. We can reach out to people we don't know in coffee hour or before coffee hour and say, welcome, we're so glad you're here, get to know each other. This week, Twinks, Karina, our admin and finance director, myself, and 3 congregants are also all attending General Assembly. Just imagine if the 3,000 or 4,000 people attending General Assembly undertook these commitments and their actions with one another. And as Twink said, we're voting on new principles and purposes. Just imagine it. We are the ones we have been waiting for. We are in this together. We are interconnected. We are all responsible for each other, not just when chaos shows up, when joy, heartache, and everything in between. This is where the divine shows up. May you make these commitments to yourself and each other in the days and weeks ahead. Amen. We are the ones we've been waiting for. Will you turn and greet your neighbor and invite them to join us in the parish room?